these are some of the examples that we're going to look at for 4-5. Again, these are in your note packet, so you should be able to find these. These are right below where I ended up on the last video. So it's asking here, what is the measure of angle A? So I've got this triangle right here. We've got angle A, angle B, and angle C, triangle ABC here. I know that these two sides are equal, which means in the triangle, if I were to look at this a little bit closer, in this triangle, if those two sides are equal, then these angles opposite of them have to be equal. These two angles are equal to each other. So that means if angle C is 70, then angle A is also 70 degrees. Because those two angles have to be equal to each other. Isosceles triangle theorem. Okay, example letter B. Again, we're still trying to find the measure of angle A. Well, again, if the measure of angle A is 53, and as you see here in the picture, they both have the same exact marking, angle A is going to be 53 degrees because they have the same marking. Now, the question that I want to go through that's extra on this one is, what happens if I ask you to find angle B? So I want to know how much this angle is. Well, what I would do is I would just make that a variable. So let's make this x. I don't know what this guy is. So I would take x and I would add 53 and 53 and set it equal to 180 if they ask you to find that third angle. Because remember, the three angles of a triangle still add up to 180. Even if it's isosceles, equilateral, doesn't matter. So this would be x plus 106 equals 180. You'd subtract that away, which means x would be 74 degrees. So angle B, if I were to ask you that question, would be 74 degrees. Okay. So being able to find different angle measures of different things. For example, this one here, what's the value of x? Again, just a reminder, I know I'm going pretty quick through these, but you can always pause and write down, or pause and rewind if you need to. This one here a little bit different again, because this time I give you the vertex angle. But again, if you remember on an isosceles triangle, if the sides are congruent, the angles opposite of them are congruent to each other, which means that if D is x, then so is F. That's x degrees as well. Those two have to be the same, which means I can now add all three angles up and set it equal to 180. Because all three angles of a triangle have to be 180. So this is going to be 2x, and I'm going to subtract 30, which is going to be 150, and then I'm going to divide it by 2, so that's going to be 75 degrees. So each one of these angles, this angle here is 75, angle D, and angle F is 75 degrees. All right, this one's a little bit different here, this letter B. Okay. So the 42 degrees is this angle deep right here. Okay. All right, so that's where the 42 degrees goes. Now, if you look, I see three total triangles. I see the two small ones, and then I see the large one. And if you look at the large one is an isosceles triangle, because these two sides are equal to each other. So I know that if that bottom left is, or top left is 42, I know this guy's 42. Okay. So, wait, if those guys are 42, I know that this guy right here is x because those have the same markings. Okay. So what I can do here now is using the big triangle, not the little ones. I've got 42 in the top left corner. I've got 42 in the top right corner. Those are the first two angles. And then if I take these two together, that makes angle N. So I've got angle L, angle M, and angle N, which is two x's together, or if I want to put x plus x, I could, is going to equal 180. Okay. Now, so when I add these, I get 84. And then I'm going to subtract 84, so 2x is going to equal 96. And then I'm going to divide that by 2. And when I divide that by 2, I get 48. So I know that x is 48 degrees. So these guys right here, this guy right here is 48, and this guy is 48. Okay? So just a couple different pictures that you're looking at here, examples of ways to work these problems. Okay, two quick ones. And then one more quick one, because the one that we just did a second ago is literally the exact same thing as this one. So I'm not going to work this problem because it's the exact same thing as what I just did, except different numbers. But I do want to work this one because I see lots of words here. It says the measure of one base angle on an isosceles triangle is 23 degrees. What are the measures of the other two angles? So since I don't already have it, I need to draw a picture. Here's my isosceles triangle. So I'm going to say that these two angles are congruent, these two sides are congruent on my isosceles triangle. It says the measure of one base angle of an isosceles triangle is 23. So I'll say this guy is 23 degrees. I want to know what are the measures of that and the measure of this other angle. Okay, so one of the things, as you drew your picture, if it's an isosceles triangle, since it says one base angle is 23, that means the other base angle is going to be 23. Both base angles are going to be the same every time in a isosceles triangle. Okay, so I'm going to be able to take x plus 23 plus 23, set it equal to 180. Okay, and it's going to be x plus 46 is equal to 180. When I subtract that through, x is going to be 134. Okay, so I know that that last angle is 134 degrees. Okay, so now with these examples, you should be able to go through and complete the examples that are on your class kick so that you can get to going on your homework.